Hi, my name is Jen, and I recently left my job of 26 years in corporate to pursue my goal as to be an artist. And I've been out about 3 months now, and I want to share some insights that I have with you as this is new for me. And hopefully, if you're considering doing something similar, like pursuing a passion or even leaving work for early retirement or retirement, I think that some of these things can help with your transition and feeling good about what you're doing every week. So today I'm going to talk about some things that came up this past week for me, which created some doubt in me, and how I counteracted those feelings and those thoughts and beliefs to get myself back in the game and feeling good about what I'm doing and feeling really excited about what I'm doing. And stay tuned to the end, where I'm going to talk about how I made it a no-brainer of whether or not I should stay at my job or pursue my goals. And I'm going to tell you the process that I went through to get there so that you can make sure that you make it a no-brainer for you. Okay, so the first thing is, I don't have my glasses, but I'm reading my notes just to make sure I stay on track here. When you're pursuing a new thing and you're trying to get momentum on it, and I talked about that in my last video, there's a lot of inertia at the beginning of it. There's a lot of startup energy, and it can be a little bit tiring. So one of the things that I've noticed, that when my body gets tired, I start to doubt myself. I start to doubt whether or not this is what I'm doing is even doable, because if my body is tired and I can't even cook myself like a decent meal at night, how on earth can I change my life? Right? So it's really, really important to, when you don't have structure and you're going into a new way of being, yes, the workout or the eating, that's all going to change. And there is some temptation to just let things kind of roll and have that extra piece of cake and have those extra cookies and have them every other day. And that can accumulate. And I'm not talking about accumulate from a like an appearance or a weight standpoint, but just accumulate as far as an energy standpoint, and not have you feeling good in your body. And what that will do, and what it did to me this past week, was made me very tired. And like I said, when you're really tired and it's too much to cook a meal, making big changes that require a lot of energy, or just that startup energy that is like pushing things forward before they have momentum, it can make it seem overwhelming. So my first recommendation is to really make sure that you're taking care of your body, you're getting the exercise that you need. Doesn't have to be like athletic type stuff, but just every day get that exercise. I was out this morning, I got a little bit of a walk in. I had like some fruit and some juice instead of a cookie or that kind of stuff that I want to have. And I feel pretty good, and because of that, I think I can make this video and feel good and have energy for you when I might otherwise feel really tired, especially because it's raining out. And weather is definitely something that can contribute to not having a lot of energy. So definitely you want to consider that when you are changing things, because you want to keep your body strong. That keeps your mental health strong, and it keeps you. When I feel good in my body, I feel like I can do anything, and that's how I feel today. So that's a much better feeling than like the other day from eating unhealthy food. All right. So the other thing that came up this week was the recurring thought. This is like my mind, or your mind if you're doing this, of, gee, I'm the only one who's really doing this around me, at least. Like, none of my friends are quitting their jobs and pursuing what their passion is. And so therefore what I'm doing is wrong. That's what my mind said. That's what my mind is saying to me. Especially when I'm tired. See the first point about taking care of yourself. And the reality is that that's our ingrained program of the pressure to be successful, right? And the reality is that to counter that feeling, I guess is what I'm trying to get to counter that thought of like, no one else is doing this, I'm the only one doing it, and therefore I'm wrong for doing this because I feel alone, and there's not like all these people that I know going, yeah, I'm gonna quit my job and start being an artist. I mean, there's definitely people on like YouTube and stuff doing stuff, but it's different when it's people in your own life, right? There's this innate need to feel like, to show that you're going to be successful to other people. And that puts pressure on you to focus on success rather than focus on the journey and the discovery of what you really need to be exploring and learning and making note of so you can take the next step, right? Because it's not about just like this one definite goal in the future. And the other thing is that, you get to define what success means to you. I get to define what success means to me on this journey. What do I think success is? This week, in my definition of success, is that I am increasing my ability to do art. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to leave work, is so I have the time to learn, to actually take classes and to learn new ways of doing art. Like I did last week, I showed a new painting that I love, that I'm really, really excited about. And I see it as me doing a lot more of those. And that to me is, a year from now, if my art, gets to a certain level of skill that I just feel like I can whip out these paintings really fast and they're incredible, like that to me would be considered success as of this week. But then again, I get to choose what success means, and so do you on your journey, right? So if next week I'm doing something along the path and I discover something else that seems like a better option for me, next week my definition of success could change. And so I want to reinforce the fact that, you get to choose what success means for you. And so if you're feeling like you need to prove your success to other people, then that's going to cause doubt, and that's going to also leave you in a very confined and narrow definition of, what your path is going to be. And when you go into this path of the unknown, you want to be open to new things. And so that means that you don't know what's going to happen. And when you don't know, you cannot define that success. Okay? So that's number 2. Okay, so number 3 came to me this past week. Again, it's tied to the other 1 and 2, is that I feel a little bit like a weirdo not having a job. All right? Having a job for 35, 45, for like 38 years. Like, not the same job, obviously, but when I first started working, I was like very young. And now I'm in this place where I don't have a job, specifically because I want to pursue this art. It makes me feel like kind of a weirdo. And again, this goes to the fact that, a job and having the label of I do a job and I do a thing, and having that label as part of your sense of security, of your identity, I'm going to just say straight out is bull. Okay? People who are in the 1% to 2% tile of power in this country don't have jobs. They have massive wealth, and they can do whatever they want to do. The rest of us have jobs because that's what we were brought up to do and to make money, and that's what the system is. And if you have the ability or a specified amount of time where you can say, okay, I'm going to leave the job market and I am going to pursue something that is my passion and something that I'm really excited about, then do it. Having a job title does not define you. One of the things that I did to help with this was on my professional profile with my colleagues, I changed my identity from what my title was at my job to artist. Because that's what I am. That's really what I am. That's my identity. And I also put next to artist, I put coffee drinker. Because if we're going to get down to it, coffee really has been my longest running relationship, even beyond the job. And I still do it, and it still brings me great joy, and it adds to everything in life, right? Among other things. But I took off the old job title to have it talk about what my today identity and really who I really am is on my professional profile. So one of the things I want to talk about real quick is if you're considering leaving your job for, like, say you're considering like that FIRE movement, and you're before like the typical retirement age, and there's a lot of videos out there that talk about what it's like to retire early, things to consider. And I'm watching a little bit of those. I mean, I wouldn't consider myself retired, but I definitely left my job, so I'm in that category. I'm just trying to build a different kind of life, and I don't know what that's going to look like yet. And it could include, some type of working situation outside of what I do later if I have to do that. I'm giving myself the space to figure that out right now. But if you're considering retiring, and, one of the things that really helped prepare me for leaving my job beyond the financial part of it was that I worked at what my post-job life looked like for 2 years. So 2 years ago, and I talk about this a little bit in my other videos, but not too much detail. 2 years ago, I was kind of done in my current role. But I knew I had opportunity, and I just didn't know what direction to go in. And so I hired not one, not two, but three different coaches. And then I settled on one coach that I felt like was really resonated with my values and helped me. And I worked with her, and I still work with her over the past 2 years. And she has helped me to develop what I would call interests that I had let go because of work. So discovering myself not only at work, but outside of work. And I never knew which way it was going to go, if work was going to be the place that I was going to evolve, or outside of work was going to be the place that I was going to evolve. And I talk about that in one of my other videos is, I actually got promotions at work. I immediately got raises when I made changes. But ultimately, after 2 years, my love of doing art and doing health and wellness workshops, that kind of stuff that I'm also involved in beyond art, really was much more of a joyful path for me than what I had been doing for a much higher paycheck, or just a paycheck in general. I don't get a paycheck right now. It's very much like, we'll see what happens, And that joy is what ultimately pulled me out of the job, because I had to follow what was really bringing me joy. I had prepared financially, not forever, but for some time, to give myself the space to pursue it. And I really, some of these retirement videos, they talk about, okay, well, what do you do now that you're retired? Like, it's all about just having enough money to retire. And I say, no, it's not about having the money to retire, just that. It's actually about having developed what your interests are beyond the job before you leave the job. So it's so compelling to leave that you can't say no, right? And so that's something that I highly, highly recommend if you're considering leaving your job. It's not just about the finances, and it's not just about trying something once you get out of work and then going, oh no, I don't like that. Oh, what did I make a huge mistake? It's much better to try these things while you're at work. I mean, I did a few things. I did a fashion construction class in San Francisco, where I had to travel up there. And I liked it, but I also said to myself, there's no way I could see myself doing this. Like, this is not for me. Like, the amount of work that I have to do to get a jacket done, I'd rather buy one. But the fashion part is still part of my repertoire, but just in a different way. Anyway, it's good to explore these types of things before you make the leap. And that way you don't have to make it a really tough decision to make the leap, because it'll be really obvious to you. I think my coach put it to me this way. She said, you're either going to find something that you're really aligned with at work, that's really in alignment with your values, or you're going to just vibe out of there. And what happened to me is I vibed out. I was not resonating with the work culture anymore. I was totally resonating with my art and workshop stuff and the people that I do that with outside of work. And it was just a no-brainer, and I had prepared for it. And so it was like, okay, my soul's going out, and I might as well follow my soul, because I'd rather be with my soul outside of work than at work as a corpse. Right? Makes sense. Anyway, this is a little bit longer video, but I just feel like it, just telling my story. I'm going to be going on now my pilgrimage to the East Coast and seeing where it takes me. So I'll be filming from different locations from this point forward for the next several weeks, and then I'll be back, and then down the California coast. So there's going to be a lot of change in scenery. So anyway, thank you so much for being here, and I love ya, and I'll see you next time.